The itch scratch cycle. This is something that I get so many messages about from a lot of you guys who watch my channel. Having that constant itch and then the scratch and then the inflammation leading straight back to that itch again is so common, and we can be on this itch scratch Ferris wheel for almost years, maybe even a lifetime. I myself was on it for almost 40 years before I started my topical steroid withdrawal. And in this video today, I want to give you 6 wee tips that you can be doing in order to jump off that carousel, make sure that you're on the right path to healing your skin completely naturally from the inside out. Do make sure you watch to the end of this video because I have left the very best tip for relieving your itch scratch cycle till last. What's up you guys, my name is Layla for those of you who are new to my channel, and this channel is dedicated to all of those of you who are struggling with topical steroid withdrawal, eczema, atopic dermatitis, any other skin inflammation that you might be struggling with. This here is the channel to be watching. On my channel I discuss loads of different ways in which you can heal and overcome your skin condition completely naturally from the inside out, primarily starting through your gut and ensuring good gut health. I myself struggled with eczema for over 40 years, and then I struggled with TSW, and I managed to actually heal myself in less than 3 months with the strategies that I have produced a number of videos for you guys on my channel. So do delve down, do go check those out. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. But before we get into today's topic, please go ahead and give me a big thumbs up for this video. Hit that subscribe button, join my community. Let's get into it. So as we all know, we scratch because we itch, and we itch basically because we scratch. It's kind of like those two things come hand in hand. And unfortunately, our skin is itchy because it's inflamed, because there is something that is not quite right, which causes us to itch. And when we scratch our skin, what happens in actual fact is that we release something called histamine, and this is a type of hormone, and this histamine can cause quite a lot of aggravation to the skin. It causes inflammation, it can cause ruptures, wounds, and what happens thereafter is when your skin is inflamed, it actually starts to feel itchy all over again. So in addition, dopamine is released when we scratch our skin. This is a type of hormone which releases pleasure, and this can also be another side effect to the itch scratch cycle as to why we want to scratch our itch. So first up is moisture. It's being able to lock that moisture into the epidermis layer of your skin so that it's not drying out, so that it's not starting to feel prickly and itchy. You want to make sure that your skin is constantly as hydrated as possible and locking in that water, locking in that moisture. Our skin is actually slightly on the acidic side, the 5.5 on the pH scale. So our skin needs to remain somewhat acidic in order to be able to have the function of staying hydrated and locking in moisture. However, those of us with eczema, TSW, atopic dermatitis tend to have a much more alkaline reading on their skin. So do try and get a reading, pH reading of your skin. And typically if you are inflamed and your skin is open and itchy and dry, it will be a lot more alkaline than a normal skin type. Personally, I'm not a big fan of loads of lotions and potions, but there is a strategy to lock that moisture in rather than constantly applying creams and lotions onto very dry, cracked, open skin. And I like to do it with a bath. I think having a bath at a warm temperature when you get out of the bath without towel drying yourself, just allow yourself to air dry a little bit, and then apply something like a cocoa butter or a jojoba oil onto the damp skin, and that can help really lock in a lot of that moisture to help then try and change the pH balance of your skin. Now this isn't something that can happen overnight. This does take a lot of practice, and probably repetitive types of routines like this do help improve the quality of your skin. Also, wet wrapping is another great favorite technique of mine. I used to wet wrap my skin in cold bandages that I soaked in water in the evenings, and then I would wring out my bandages so that they weren't too wet, and I would wrap my bandages after I had applied a cocoa butter or a jojoba oil onto my skin, and this would really help with diminishing that burning heat sensation that I had with my topical steroid withdrawal, because one of the #1 symptoms that I struggled with was that burning sensation all over my body. So by doing the wet wrapping, it was helping my skin cool down, feel comfortable enough to get some sleep, and to actually be able to start to repair my skin barrier. Now, it really is important choosing the right product to put on your skin when you get out the bath. I know a lot of people out there love Aquaphor and Vaseline. It is not a favorite of mine. I don't really like petroleum jellies at all. And the reason being is because it has almost like a film to it, so it can actually trap in any further heat and create more irritation thereafter. That's my personal experience with Vaseline. Do try it for yourself. I think with a lot of moisturizers and lotions out there, it really is a very personal choice. But for me personally, I preferred more homemade cocoa butters or small business cocoa butters, such as this one that I'm going to just link in just right now here for you guys. I really enjoyed the fact that it was made out of all natural ingredients. There was no fragrances involved, and I felt that with the cocoa butter my skin could still breathe, as the same with that like jojoba oil. So thereafter, when I had moisturized, I would apply my wet bandages, and I would actually probably change these out maybe once in the night as well, but I really felt that that kept my skin cool, and the next day my hydration levels on my skin were far better using this process. Number 2, simple but effective, you probably all do it at home, is just to ice it out, ice that itch out. And I like to use really nice gel ice packs, and I like to actually have them out of the freezer for about 20 minutes so it's not completely frozen over. My worst area was actually my neck, which I think a lot of us with TSW suffer a lot with our necks because of all the blood vessels that we have running through our neck area. It was my most stubborn area, but I used to literally sleep on almost a pillow of ice gel packs just under here, and I would change them out regularly. The other thing that I really like to do is I used to use an isotherm picnic bag right next to my bedside, which had more ice packs in them so that I could just change them out in the night without having to go downstairs to the kitchen into the freezer. So that was kind of like my nighttime process, so that I can really focus on my sleeping and not be wandering around the house and waking myself up in the middle of the night. Chirotherapy is so popular right now, and I really want to talk about it because a lot of people online have been discussing chirotherapy. It wasn't an option for me when I was going through my TSW, but I'm really impressed with the results that has given a lot of sufferers. Chirotherapy is basically a way of icing your skin so that you can no longer feel it. It's almost like a numbing effect. Chirotherapy is traditionally used to remove warts and moles, and the great thing about it is that it can be very localized, and it can just literally help something fall off, such as a wart, and for this reason it's very, very effective. Now they're now doing these chirotherapy chambers that you can actually stand in, leaving your head outside of the chamber, and the liquid nitrogen air is released into the chamber, and you're only in there for I think about 30 minutes or something, and it helps cool down all of that heat and all of that itch on your body, which apparently is very, very effective, and it can last for several days afterwards to really help reduce that itch. It can certainly be a good treatment for relief, temporary relief, and something that you can work on so that it gives you a bit of a break during your TSW time. I really think it is really worth investigating. It's not a free therapy, it's not on the NHS. Here in France, it's not on our social system, but it could be something that could offer you a bit of temporary relief. So number 3 is stress, mindset, mindfulness, trying to help determine your anxiety and how to relieve that. Going through TSW and having extreme eczema and skin conditions can be the most stressful time of our entire lives. I know it used to overtake my life completely, and I can totally understand how it can really put you in a very, very dark place. But obviously the more we stress, the more anxiety that we have, the more we are just triggering that itch scratch cycle all over again. So working on your mindset and mindfulness is really, really important. Trying to overcome stressful situations and conditions, and to practice some very, very good mindful routines. I love the Mind app, for example. I love the Sleep app. I love the Calm app. I'll put them all down below. My favorite mindful de-stressing apps that I really love to participate in a lot of the daily rituals that they encourage you to do, and it really just helps to keep everything balanced. In order to do this, I ensure that I exercise at least every other day, if not every day, and this can just be even just very small movement, yoga, Pilates, just basic stretching, anything to kind of get the body going in the morning, going for walks, getting lots of fresh air, being out in the nature, that sort of thing can just alleviate and start your day off in a really good headspace. Just even me walking down to my local village in the morning and coming back, that will just give me what I need to kind of set myself up mentally for a good day. Then things like being able to get into a relaxed state of mind. Now, I'm not the best meditator, and have been trying for quite some time. It's not something that comes natural to me, but breathing exercises I find very, very helpful. And again, these apps can really help you with breathing exercises and really helping just to bring your heightened anxiety or stress or whatever it is back down to a more level plateau. And I really do think that these small tools that you can implement in your daily lives can really help overall reduce that anxiety and reduce that stress. Number 4 is products. Now, when it comes to products, you really want to be looking at your ingredients list for your hygiene products, your shower gels, your bath foams, that sort of thing. You want to be avoiding SLSs, sodium lauryl sulfates, as this is the foaming agent, it's the cleaning agent as they claim it to be, that can actually strip the oils away from your skin, and this is the last thing that you need. So by opting for more natural hygiene products such as Dr. Bronner's, Stevenson's and Sons, Melt and Pour, opt for shower gels and bath foams that don't contain any SLSs. Now, when it comes to moisturizers and lotions, everyone has their personal favorites. I saw recently a post from somebody on Instagram who said that they absolutely can't stand E45 Itch Relief, which is actually one of my favorites. However, I did use it towards the end of my TSW journey where I had quite a lot of redness and irritation on my neck. However, I really do like to have something with a numbing agent in it, such as E45 Itch Relief. Aven also have a mild numbing agent in their lotion. Otherwise, so long as you're going for something I believe that is lightweight, even if it says it's all natural, just check the ingredients, make sure there's no fragrance in it, there's nothing that's going to irritate your skin. I enjoy this Topi Creme from France. I like the one that's actually fragrance free, and it's just very, very light. And I find the lighter a lotion for your body, the more absorbing it is into your skin, less irritating. It's not pulling at your skin if it's very delicate, and it can just glide on. And it's basically full of a lot of water as well, but it just can apply so nicely. And you can get this on Amazon, and I'll link it below for you guys as well. But that has to be my top favorite moisturizer at the moment. Currently, I actually don't moisturize at all, but my daughter still has quite dry skin in the winter, so I like to use this on her skin, because for kids especially, they don't want their skin being pulled down, because often kids and babies, they really do not look forward to moisturizing time, because it tends to be sort of a time whereby their skin might be feeling quite uncomfortable as it is, and they just don't want to be touched. So by using something very light, very easy to absorb and apply, you're on the right track. So when it comes to facial moisturizers, I have 2 firm favorites of mine, one of which is the Weleda Light Skin Food, and I prefer the light once again because the lighter the lotion, the lighter the product, the easier it will go on to the skin. They have one in more of a darker green packaging, and it's quite thick and heavy, but this I really like because it just goes on so beautiful and so light, and it just absorbs so well into the skin too. So I really do love it, and it's very non-allergic. It's got a lot of natural ingredients to it. Weleda's been around, I think, since the 60s and 70s, and it's always been a firm favorite of mine. Dermavigils is my other top favorite product, and this is quite hard to get hold of because you can only buy it through professional facialists. I know in the UK there is Andy Millward, and again I'll put him down below, but you can have a look on their Instagram, and I'll put their handle down there as well, and you can find a list. I actually order mine directly from Dermavigils in Germany, hence why everything's written in German, because I've got no supplier here in France, as there isn't anybody, so there's a gap in the market for you. But here we have a lovely spray. This is like a moisturizing spray. It's full of ceramides, and ceramides is wonderful for the skin barrier, to repair the skin barrier, which will help break that itch scratch cycle. Number 5 is avoid your allergens. Now, often those of us with eczema, topical steroid withdrawal, we've come from a big backlog history of having allergies and allergens in our life, and by avoiding these, you're not going to be triggered with your itch scratch cycle, so it stops it from beginning in the first place. So if you're allergic to pets, pollen, dust, whatever it may be, you want to be avoiding those at all costs. Now, personally for me, when it comes to animals, I used to be highly allergic, and I'm still quite allergic to a bit of pollen, but it has been significantly reduced since I began my low histamine diet, which has enabled me to be so much more tolerant of allergens. So again, looking at our diagram of our itch scratch cycle and the histamine, by removing a lot of histamines from my diet, I've been able to really not only stop my itch scratch cycle, but also overcome so many allergens. Lastly, number 6, when it really comes down to the nitty-gritty of cutting and breaking that itch scratch cycle, your diet wins overall. I've left the best and most important till last, because I truly believe, and this is exactly how I healed my TSW, my lifelong eczema. My whole life has completely changed. I'm no longer itchy. I'm totally free and happy from this, breaking this cycle. And it really came down to me removing histamine from my diet temporarily. I've now reintroduced it back into my diet, and my symptoms have no longer returned, and I've been off my diet for almost a year now. I do balance it. I don't have histamine constantly in every single meal, but I do have a balance whereby I know I have a bucket and I don't want that bucket to overflow. So that is the way I sort of manage my condition, as it were. It's more of a management status that I'm at now, rather than sort of a long-term healing plan. But the way I healed my itch scratch cycle, and I broke it and I overcame my eczema and my topical steroid withdrawal, was really focusing on that histamine, being able to remove that itch from my body, remove that inflammation, and then to be able to heal my skin and allow my skin barrier to repair itself. So if you are interested in things like being on a low histamine diet, removing that itch permanently, then go ahead and watch this video right here, whereby I list all the foods that are high in histamine that create that itch, and I'll see you guys over there. And until then, I'll see you in my next one. Bye for now.